10 rarest British old cars of all time you've never seen. One of the 10 cars on this list was built exactly once. It raced at Le Mans 3 times in the years right after the war. The man who designed its body was executed by a German firing squad in 1944 for his work in the French Resistance. That car sits at the very end of this list, and the 9 cars before it are barely less rare. These aren't cars you've seen at a car show or even in a magazine. Most British enthusiasts go their whole lives without seeing one in the metal. Let's start with the common ones, of which barely 300 exist. Number 10, Jensen FF, 1966 to 1971. The Jensen FF was built by Jensen Motors in West Bromwich, and only 320 were ever made. What made it remarkable wasn't luxury, it was engineering nobody else had attempted. The FF stands for Ferguson Formula, and it was the world's first four-wheel drive production car, arriving 14 years before the Audi Quattro made all-wheel drive fashionable. It also carried the Dunlop Maxaret mechanical anti-lock braking system, technology previously found only on aircraft and racing cars. The four-wheel drive hardware ate up so much space in the footwell that Jensen never solved left-hand drive, which meant no American market at all. The single biggest sports car market in the world closed off by design. Powered by a 6.3-litre Chrysler 5.8, the FF looked almost identical to its sibling, the Interceptor, distinguished only by 2 vents on the front wing instead of 1. Jensen built genuinely world-first technology and buried it inside a car most people mistook for something else. Number 9, Gilban GT, 1959 to 1967. Around 280 were built, and every one of them came from a factory in the Rhondda Valley. Gilban remains the only car manufacturer Wales has ever produced. It was founded by a butcher, Giles Smith, and a German engineer, Bernard Fries, who had been a prisoner of war in Wales and stayed. The GT used a fiberglass body riveted to a steel tube chassis, running BMC engines, first an Austin Healey Sprite unit, later the MG B series. Buyers could take it as a kit to dodge Britain's purchase tax, which is how a company with 4 dealers and no serious backing kept the lights on for 8 years. It is not a famous car. It is a stubborn one, proof that a tiny Welsh workshop could build something road legal and genuinely quick, while the rest of the industry was consolidating around Coventry and Birmingham. Number 8, Swallow Duretti, 1954 to 1955. 276 were built, and the reason production stopped was not poor sales, it was Jaguar. The Duretti was built by the Swallow Coach Building Company, a firm with direct roots in Jaguar's own pre-war history, using Triumph TR2 mechanicals under a handsome aluminium body designed for the American market. It was selling well. Then Jaguar's management sent a memo to Swallow's parent company, Tube Investments, pointing out that the Duretti competed directly with the Jaguar XK120, and that if production continued, Jaguar would find another supplier for the bumpers and door locks that Tube Investments made for them. Production stopped within months. A good car killed, not by the market, but by a rival leaning on a supply chain. Number 7, AC428 Fruar, 1965 to 1973. Only 81 were built. The AC428 took the chassis of the AC Cobra 427, stretched by 6 inches, sent it to Turin to be clothed in steel bodywork by the coach builder Fruar, then shipped it back to England to be fitted with a 7-litre Ford 5.8 and trimmed. British chassis, Italian body, American engine, and a price tag that beat even the Aston Martin DB6, and it was fast, under 6 seconds to 60, and it appeared in the final series of The Avengers. But building a car across 2 countries by hand was punishingly expensive, and when Ford stopped supplying the engine directly, and the 1973 oil crisis hit, AC simply couldn't keep making them. Most road tests of the era rated it above the Jaguar E-Type and the Corvette. Almost nobody bought one, because almost nobody could. Number 6, Lagonda Rapide, 1961 to 1964. Just 55 were made, and all of them were built to order. No Rapide left the factory speculatively. This was David Brown's attempt to revive the Lagonda name after buying the company in 1948, built on a stretched Aston Martin DB4 platform with the 4-litre straight 6 that would later go into the DB5. It was a genuine 4-door GT, hand-built with Superleggera aluminium panels over a tubular frame, capable of 130 miles an hour, extraordinary for a saloon in 1961. The styling divided opinion badly. The horseshoe grille and quad headlights were compared at the time to the Ford Edsel, hardly a compliment. It never sold in numbers, and the Lagonda name went quiet again for another decade. Of the 55 built, 48 are believed to survive. Number 5, Frazer-Nash Le Mans replica from 1951 to 1954. Total production of the Le Mans replica came to 34 cars. Frazer-Nash built these using Bristol engines derived from the pre-war BMW 328 unit, on a chassis so light and direct that Sterling Moss, Roy Salvadori and Tony Brooks all raced them. They ran at Le Mans, the Mille Milliards, the Targa Florio, Silverstone and Goodwood, genuine competition cars that a private buyer could also drive to the shops. Frazer-Nash's entire post-war output across every model came to just 85 cars total. The Le Mans replica was the backbone of that number, and it is one of the last true British sports cars where a customer bought essentially the same specification the works team raced. Number 4, Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato, 1960 to 1963. Aston Martin planned 25. They built 19. Zagato in Milan reworked the DB4 GT into something lighter and more aggressive with aluminium panels, no rear tail fins, and a simplified interior stripped for speed. 2 cars, registered 1 VE5 and 2 VE raced at Le Mans in 1961 under John O'Gear's Essex Racing Stable, and one of them beat a Jaguar E-Type on the last lap of a British Grand Prix support race at Silverstone that same July. Sterling Moss drove the very first customer car at Goodwood in 1961, finishing 3rd behind a Ferrari. Demand never reached the planned 25, so Aston Martin simply stopped at 19, making a genuinely rare car rarer still by accident. Number 3, Invicta Black Prince, 1946 to 1950. Somewhere between 16 and 18 were built. Nobody agrees on the exact number, which tells you how small and chaotic the operation was. Invicta tried to relaunch after the war with a car built to take on Jaguar, Bentley and Rolls-Royce directly. It had an aluminium engine block, twin overhead camshafts, electrically operated jacks built into all 4 corners for changing a flat tyre, and a heated engine to stop it seizing on frosty mornings. It cost around £3,500, roughly the price of a house at the time, and 3 times the price of a Jaguar Mark V. The engineering was genuinely ahead of its era. The price wasn't, and Invicta folded within 4 years of launch. One of the very first cars built went to the Maharaja of Mysore. Number 2, Jaguar XKSS 1957. 16 were built and sold. A further 9 were destroyed before they ever reached a customer. The XKSS was Jaguar's idea for using up unsold D-type racing chassis, strip the racing bodywork, add a passenger door and a proper windscreen, and sell what was essentially a Le Mans winning car for the road. On the night of the 12th of February 1957, a fire broke out at Jaguar's Browns Lane factory in Coventry. It tore through the assembly area and destroyed the 9 remaining XKSS chassis before they could be completed, ending production for good at just 16 cars. One of those 16 was later bought by Steve McQueen, who called it the Green Rat and drove it around Los Angeles for years. Jaguar didn't build a second run until 2016, nearly 60 years later, and only to replace the 9 lost that night. Number 1, the Embiricos Bentley, 1938. There is only one. It was commissioned by a wealthy Greek shipping magnate, Andrei Embiricos, who wanted a Bentley that could actually cut through the air rather than push against it. The body was designed by George Paulin, a French dental technician turned self-taught aerodynamicist, and built in Duralumin by the coach builder Pour II in Paris. It set an unofficial 1-hour speed record at 107 miles an hour at Montlhéry, then went further, sustaining over 114 miles an hour for a full hour at Brooklands. Figures no Bentley road car had come close to before it. After the war, it raced at Le Mans 3 years running, from 1949 to 1951, finishing all 3 times, including 6th place in 1949. George Paulin never saw any of that. During the war, he worked undercover for the French resistance, smuggling Allied airmen out of occupied France. He was captured, tried, and shot by a German firing squad in 1944. The car he built survives. There has never been another one like it, and there never will be. 10 cars from a workshop in the Rhondda Valley to a Parisian coach builder working under occupation. None of them sold in real numbers. Most of them failed commercially for reasons that had nothing to do with how good they were. That's usually the story with the rarest British cars, not that nobody wanted them, but that circumstance, cost, or bad luck got there first.